Alright lads, welcome back to the channel. After replacing the Sherman Fireflies in the 1970s with the original TAM, the Argentinian Armed Forces were looking to upgrade this vehicle, and the vehicle they settled with was the TAM 2C, found in game a battle rating 10.0. However, if you've ever heard of this thing called the Argentinian economy, well yeah, it wasn't playing ball, and the TAM 2Cs were far too expensive to upgrade to. So instead, they settled with the TAM 2IP, standing for Improved Protection. They got rid of the fancy new optics and fire control system of the C, and basically added a bunch of additional armor onto the existing TAMs, as well as a slightly more modern APFSDS round. While the TAM 2IP is a pretty weak tank by modern standards, when all of your neighbours are also poor with pretty much destroyed economies, pretty much anything with a gun is good enough to act as a tank. So while the TAM 2IP certainly isn't going to be outgunning any NATO vehicles, it certainly seems good enough for the South American continent. But is it any good in War Thunder? Well, it sits in the 6th rank of the German tech tree, at battle rating 8.7, and this vehicle is of course a premium, coming in at the cost of 8,910 Golden Eagles. Being a premium, you will get additional bonuses for your Silver Lion and Research Point multipliers. Because the TAM 2IP is located at battle rating 8.7, it avoids the messy 10.0 meta at the minute, so you don't have to face those god-awful SG-25s and the T-72AV terms, making the TAM 2IP probably one of the best grinders in the German tech tree at the minute, as it allows you to grind out every vehicle from rank 1 to 7, all whilst avoiding the cancer that is top tier. I've been having a lot of fun playing 8.7, but is this tank a good fit for you, and more importantly, your wallet? If you'd like to know more about this vehicle, boys, then stick around for the rest of the video. Alright lads, welcome back. So the original TAM was developed in order to basically give the Argentinian army a high level of mobility in a light and rather low profile package. Because of the additional weight, our top speed our top speed hasn't been reduced, but our acceleration definitely has. We still have a top speed of 76 km per hour like the original, but our power to weight ratio has dropped down to 21.8 tons. We're still using the 720 horsepower engine, but our weight has increased up to 33 tons now. This does mean that the IP does feel quite sluggish, especially if you're going up hills or quite a steep slope. The TAMs were never that fast, to be honest, but the TAM 2IP, you can definitely feel that there is a quite slow. It feels like playing like a T-72, it's that type of slow. You can get to a top speed, but it does take a long time, and you kind of need a hill as well as all the crew jumping out and pushing it to get up to that top speed. In terms of survivability, we have a crew of 4 men. The driver is blocked there by the engine, my bad, should have turned the vehicle around. But as you can see, we have a crew of 4 men, a driver in the front and then 3 in the fighting compartment. Something to note is that we do have a lot of ammunition stored in the fighting compartment, both behind the crew in the turret as well as to the side of the loader. This does mean that a shot hitting you center of mass is likely to be a one-shot kill. Not only can they kill all 3 crew members in the turret very easily, they can also hit the ammunition, which kind of takes the question out of it, which will kill the vehicle in a single hit. When it comes to survivability, the TAM 2IP isn't very good, to be honest. Now, we do have the composite armor surrounding the tank. This is mainly to deal with chemical warheads. It's kind of like a urban survivability kit like the Tusk. It's more to like defeat RPGs and that sort of stuff. I don't really know why the Argentinians were taking a light tank into an urban setting. It's pretty stupid, to be honest, especially when the TAM 2 is like 15mm of armor originally. Definitely not a vehicle you want to go into a urban setting in real life or in War Thunder. A lot of people will argue though that the composite screens do allow you to bounce some rounds, especially if you're angled. Maybe some heater fest shells will get eaten, but I certainly wouldn't rely on it. And while the improved protection is in the name of this vehicle, its protection is abysmal, just like the original TAM and pretty much most light tanks. And to prove this, boys, let's take a look at our armor protection itself. So against the M735 round on the XM1, a very common enemy you'll be going up against, we can see that we can penetrate the entire front of this tank. Doesn't even need to have a shot placement. Maybe it's not going to be a one-shot kill every single shot, but you can still be penetrated pretty much everywhere. If we mix it up a bit and we take a look at an IFV's gun, the 30mm on the BMP-2M, we can still see that we can get penetrated pretty much everywhere. Again, while this does have improved protection in the title of the vehicle, the crew inside certainly are not protected. If he wraps every Argentinian tanker up in bubble wrap, they probably have just as much protection as this vehicle. Anyway, that ends the negatives. Let's go on to the positives, and that is the gun. We have the 105mm FMK4 Modelo 1L. I believe this is a Royal Ordnance L7A3, or the German variant of it. It's quite a modern 105 to be honest. We have 7 degrees of gun depression, which isn't the best, but because this is a rear turreted vehicle, can't really be helped. We also have 18 degrees of gun elevation, not that important, but I thought I'd mention it. As you'd expect, the gun is also fully stabilized in both the horizontal and vertical planes, and we can carry a total of 50 rounds of ammunition. Being a NATO 105, we have a stock reload speed of 8.7 seconds, and with an H crew, that drops down to 6.7 seconds. On the NATO 105 tanks, it is always very important to get that good crew skill, as it does give you a huge firepower advantage, knocking 2 seconds off your reload speed. We then have several different types of ammunition. Our stock round is the DM12. This is a heater fest round with 400mm of penetration. We have the DM512 round. This is a HESH shell with 127mm of penetration. HESH has kind of been nerfed into the ground though, so I'm not sure I'd recommend taking that, even for backup. Of our 2 APFSDS rounds, we have the DM23 as our first pick with 337mm of pen. And finally, the round that I use all the time, the DM33. This is an absolute beast of a thin round with over 400mm of penetration at point blank range. Not only does this round have fantastic penetration capabilities, it also has really good post-pen damage, creating a lot of spalling, leading to a lot of one-shot kills. This makes the tank very satisfying to play, as if you manage to penetrate a tank, you generally will kill it in a single hit. The TAM 2IP does lack thermal imaging, but we do have night vision, as well as smoke grenades. Being a light tank, we can also scout people. This is really only useful if you're playing in a team, however. Apart from the coaxial machine guns, that pretty much covers it for the TAM 2IP. While it is quite a lot of Golden Eagles, nearly 10,000, I'd say that this is probably my favourite grinder in the German tech tree at the minute. While it doesn't have the fancy gadgets like incredibly high pen APFSDS rounds, it doesn't have thermal imaging, I found the lack of thermal hasn't been too much of an issue for me. Because you're at 8.7 now and you don't see the really big scary tanks at 10.0 anymore, you kind of don't really need it, to be honest. I've been having a lot of fun playing this thing. Surprisingly, I've been playing a lot of 8.7 matches, which has been good fun. The 8.7 lineup for Germany is a little bit bleak. It's basically this thing, the Leopard A1A1 and the original TAM at 8.7. So you don't have a huge variety of vehicles, but they are solid in performance. They've all got DM23. This thing has DM33. Pay to win premium. You all know the grift. Anyway, would I recommend this for a newer player? I'd probably recommend it over the Leopard 2A4. Obviously, if you're going to spend in a lot of money, the 2A4 is probably a better pick. But I think this is a little bit better for a newer player because you aren't in that really harsh environment. Anyway, guys, let me know down below in the comments what you guys think about this vehicle. And if you'd like to see any other vehicles reviewed, also let me know. As always, a huge thank you to all my YouTube members. You guys really do support me and allow me to do this channel. And finally, thank you very much for watching, lads, and I'll see you in the next review.